Episode 5, Season 3 of Yellowjackets came on last night. Let's talk about it. We see Misty start her investigation into Lottie's death. She goes to the morgue. She kind of blackmails the guy to give her Lottie's possessions. While he's gone, she takes some like DNA samples, dirt under the nails, that kind of stuff to aid her investigation. Then she gets the ladies together to let them know, hey, Lottie's dead. Shauna, Ty, and Van are obviously shocked, but Shauna, I'm having a hard time with Shauna this season. She automatically is like, well, where were you, Misty? What were you doing? Misty's like, what the heck? I gathered you here together to let you know Lottie's dead. You saw me yesterday. Of all 4 of these women, Misty is the least suspicious person in regards to Lottie's death. I'm just going to say that. Ty and Van have a conversation. Van's kind of like, oh, where were you? And you disappeared for like an hour yesterday before the whole horse and carriage pretzel thing. And Ty's like, oh, New York. We get flashbacks and we find out what Ben's punishment is after the whole trial. They have decided that he needs to be put to death. Shauna, in her very messed up fashion, she wants to burn him at the stake, but the ladies thankfully do not agree to that. They say, okay, whoever draws the King of Hearts is the one that will have to kill him by a firing squad. And unfortunately, Ty draws the King of Hearts. This episode, during the flashbacks, Ty and Van are trying to figure out how to bring back the other Ty in order for her to finish this. Meanwhile, something is really going on with current Ty. We have that moment in the park where she sees her son. Her son's asking her, hey, are you my mom? And she's like, yeah, of course. And he walks away. I don't know. I think he senses something is going on there. So Shauna's very suspicious of Misty, so she starts to trail her. She notices a car is trailing her as well. She slams on her brakes and gets hit by the car behind her, and it turns out to be Walter. So Walter lets Shauna know that he's kind of appointed himself chief citizen detective over Lottie's death. He kind of lets Shauna know, hey, you're my #1 suspect, but I think he's kind of desperate at this point because Misty's not talking to him. So he teams up with Shauna and they decide to investigate together. Later on, we see them at Lottie's father's house. Misty comes across the house in her own search for clues. Shauna and Walter are pretending to be the Wi-Fi people. It's an interesting back and forth. I'm not 100% certain that Walter is really a nice guy at this point in time. I hope he really is. I think he does really care about Misty, and I think he's kind of trying to win her back. Being truthful to Misty, letting her know, hey, your friends aren't very nice to you, and in turn that hurt her feelings. But I think Misty's obviously coming around to the fact yeah, my friends don't really like me very much. I think she's a little bit too stubborn to be like, okay, I forgive you, Walter, for telling me the truth about my life. So I don't know. Are they gonna end up back together? I hope so, and I hope Walter's not a creep because he's a fun character. So while Walter, Misty, and Shauna are at Lottie's father's home trying to get information from him, Walter gives Shauna an offer to, hey, I'll give you my DNA if you give me your DNA, and we could prove to each other that neither one of us is the killer. And Shauna's like, nope, not gonna do that. But because they are wearing those little hats, Walter finds her hat, takes a piece of hair out of that hat, and stores it for later. So I guess we'll find out if Shauna is still suspect #1 on his list later on. So in the flashbacks, while Ty and Van are trying to summon Dark Ty to off Coach Ben, and while Coach Ben is having some nice moments with Misty before he inevitably meets his fate, Lottie and Akila are talking. Lottie convinces Akila to go back to the cave because she feels like her business is not done there. And Akila agrees. She goes into the cave. She has another vision, and in the vision, she sees Coach Ben acting as kind of the bridge from the wilderness into the future. And so they determined that he is their ticket home. He is the bridge home. So they are rushing back to stop his execution. Shauna has been a hard character to love this season, to be quite honest, but I did find the moment where she's kind of humoring Lottie's father when she's in Lottie's bedroom because he has some memory issues. He mistakes her for Lottie and she kind of goes along with it. I thought that was one nice thing that she did, to kind of help this man feel closer to his daughter. So in the flashbacks, Shauna is just, she's a piece of work. Melissa, I don't know, I don't really care for Melissa at this point because she's very much like a pick-me. She is very much trying to impress Shauna. She gives Shauna a present and, she lets her know, I like that you don't hide all the bad parts of yourself. Let those shine through. And of course, later on in the episode, they do really a despicable thing to Coach Ben. So Lottie and Akila get back just in time for other Ty not to execute Coach Ben. They let them know, hey, Ben should stay alive. He's our ticket out of here. And so they put him back into like the animal pen thing. But of course, Shauna and Melissa show up that evening, and Shauna basically pressures Melissa into just gravely injuring him to kind of prove like, oh, you should also not be afraid of the dark parts of yourself. Show me, Melissa. And so she does it. Bad vibes all around for this couple. But yeah, I felt terrible for Coach Ben in this episode. Cutting his Achilles tendon was like brutal. That looked so painful. I don't know what's gonna happen to Coach Ben. He didn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve to die. Shauna, I hope she does something else in the season to kind of redeem her, because like flashback Shauna, real bad vibes, and then current day Shauna, she's driving me nuts because for whatever reason she's just blaming everything on Misty. Misty is not to blame for everything, so I don't know. And like with the Ty stuff, like we don't know. Did Ty do it? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what we find out next week. I'm looking forward to it.